Well, good morning, Lakewood. It is wonderful to see all of you this morning. As I've told a few of you, I am so impressed that you remembered to change the time on your clocks. So you actually got here on time. Congratulations. This is wonderful. We can all say that we've at least checked one thing off the to do list today. We got to worship on time. So that is a wonderful thing. And before we get started in worship this morning, I've got a few announcements, and Jennifer Fernero has got a few announcements that we wanted to go ahead and share with you. Jennifer, do you want to go ahead and go first?
Good morning. I just wanted to remind everybody of the Palm Sunday luncheon that we'll be having on April the 2nd. Please remember that we will eat after. We'll have a potluck together after service, and then we will have Easter activities for the children. We'll have an Easter egg hunt, and the Easter Bunny will be making an appearance. So he will be here with us. Also, I want to thank all of you who have already brought eggs and candy, and will you continue to bring eggs and candy? I would appreciate it, and you may just place them in the basket in the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. If you'll turn to the back page of your bulletin with me, you can read along with me as I go through some of these announcements just to make sure that we are all on the same page and that we all know what is happening in the life of our wonderful church. So, our first announcement is that we would like to invite you to fill out an attendance sheet. If you will look in the back of the pew in front of you, there ought to be some attendance sheets. If you don't see some, look at the back of the pew behind you. Look at look at all the pews around you and grab an attendance sheet. And if you can fill that out, that would help us to get to know you better, which would be great. The reverse side of the sheet has a QR code that you can use to learn more about our church, or you can use that to make an online donation if you would like to. And there's space for questions, comments, or prayer requests. Once you complete the attendance sheet, please drop it into the offering plate so that we can collect those, and then that way we know who's here. If you would prefer not to give online, but you would prefer to give by check in the offering plate, that's absolutely an option. That's not a problem. The only thing that we ask is if you're making multiple donations for different things, one for the offering, separate for the altar rail, whatever it is, we ask that you write separate checks and that you note on there what the donation is for so that we know how to designate your generosity. Our second announcement is that this afternoon we have our ongoing Lenten Bible study. We have been having this study on Sundays at 1 o'clock, which has been great because it gives folks a chance to get out of worship here. You can run, go get something to eat, and then just come on right back. We are in the Harmony classroom upstairs, and we are still studying the Bible. Shocker. And we are studying Luke, the book by Adam Hamilton. So I think it's been a wonderful study. We have videos that we've been watching and have a discussion. It generally lasts around an hour, sometimes a little longer. If you have to leave in an hour, not a problem. If you need to come late, not a problem. We're very flexible. But if you would like to join us and have not been able to do so already, you're not too late. You can absolutely come and join us this afternoon. Jennifer is going to be leading this afternoon's study. She led the last two. And then starting next week, I will be leading for our last sessions. So let us know if you have any questions. And if you want to join us, just come on and join. We also have our Lakewood Book Club, and that is going to be this Tuesday. We're going to meet at Celebration Restaurant at 12:30 p.m. We, for March, are reading The Royal Art of Poison by Eleanor Herman. And in April, we're going to be reading Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. So we've already had a bunch of people who have RSVP'd and said that they're coming. So I'm really looking forward to it. If you would like to attend but have not yet had a chance to RSVP, please let Marianne know, or you can tell me and I'll let her know, just because we want to be able to communicate with the restaurant and kind of give them an idea of how many Lakewood folks to expect. So thank you to Marianne. Thank you to Sally out in the internet somewhere. Thank you to those of you who have been participating in this and who have just made it so great, because I've really been enjoying this book club. And our next announcement is about Palm Sunday. Jennifer already covered that. Palm Sunday is going to be wonderful, and I do hope you'll be able to join us. If you have a bulletin, you may have seen there is an insert in your bulletin about Easter lilies. It is that time of year again. I can't believe it either, but here we are. So we would encourage people to purchase an Easter lily. They are $10 each. If you would like to purchase one, you can fill out this form. You can purchase one in memory of someone or in honor/appreciation for someone. The only thing that we ask is that you turn in your orders by Sunday, April the 2nd, so that we have time to fulfill all of the orders in time for Easter. And our last announcement this morning, at least for me, is that we have our Wilkinson Center Pantry Collection. So we are hoping to raise $4,000 to sponsor the Wilkinson Center's food pantry during the month of June. You can give online or via cash or check in the offering plate. As I said before, just make sure to write on your check how you want that money designated so that we can make sure that we can designate your generosity appropriately. So does anybody else have any other announcements that I have not covered? Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that we've covered all the announcements, so let us prepare our hearts and our minds for worship.
Guide us to justice, truth, and love. Deliver from our selfish needs. May swords of hate fall from our hands. Our hearts will we find release. To by God's grace our warring world shall see Christ's promised reign of peace.
Please stand and join me in the call to worship. Welcome, pilgrims on the way to the cross. Leaning to Jesus. The way is long and we are thirsty. We see the waters of Jesus. We feel the weight of scarcity warring with hopeful whispers of abundance. We need the waters of Jesus. We wonder if God will provide us with what we need here and now. As God gives us the living waters of Jesus, so God calls us to quench the thirst and meet the needs of our neighbors. Pilgrims on the way, come let us worship God. Come to worship God as we learn to live inside out. Amen. Please stand and join in hymn number 731, Glorious Things of Thee Are Spoken. We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 4.
Glorious things of thee are spoken, Zion, city of our God. God's word cannot be broken, for before his throne alone. On the rock of ages founded, what can shake thy sure repose? With salvation's wall surrounded, thou mayest silent all thy foes. See the streams of living waters springing from eternal love. Wells supply thy sons and daughters, and the fear of want remove. Who can fade while such a river praise the joy of Lord the giver, never fails from age to age. Blessed baptized of Zion, washed in our Redeemer's blood. Jesus, who our souls rely on, makes us fathers, priests with God. Blessed by his great love he raised us, brothers of ourselves to reign. Goodness, praises, song of praises,
Please remain standing and join in the affirmation of faith. We are not alone. We live in God's world. We believe in God who has created and is creating, who has come in Jesus, the Word made flesh, to reconcile and make new,
who works in us and others by the Spirit. We trust in God. We are called to be the church, to celebrate God's presence, to live with respect in creation, to love and serve others, to seek justice and resist evil, to proclaim Jesus crucified and risen, our judge and our hope, in life, in death, in life beyond death. God is with us. We are not alone. Thanks be to God. Amen.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Amen.
You may be seated. Well, friends, we have reached the time in our worship service when we get to do one of my favorite things, and that is that we get to pray together as a community of faith. Prayer is so important to our identity as Christians, as United Methodists, and as people of God. I pray every single day, and it always warms my heart to know that we're always praying in community together, that we're always surrounded by the great cloud of witnesses, by those who have gone before us, and we are always with God, who loves us and who wants to hear our prayers. So I will start this morning. I received a message from Janet Ross, who said that her best friend from childhood's daughter and son-in-law are doing IVF, and they are hoping for a successful pregnancy. So I wanted to begin by lifting up prayers for Abby and Anthony and ask that God will be with them and will take care of them on this journey, that, a journey of bringing new life into the world. That is definitely something that God does, right? God has been creating since the beginning, and we will pray that God will be with them and will help to create new life once again. So I will say, Lord, in your mercy, and you're invited to respond with, Lord, hear our prayer. So prayers for Abby and Anthony in this time of their journey with IVF, and prayers for a successful pregnancy. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. So what about everyone else? I'd like to open up the floor to you. What joys and concerns are on your heart? What are you bringing to worship this morning? Do we have joys or concerns? Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. It's kind of a joy cern, It's kind of a mixture. It's a joy and a concern. It's a joy cern. We have new words in the church. We do. So if you did not hear that, she wanted to lift up prayers for the folks who have tested positive for COVID, and prayers for that concern, for their health, but also a joy that the cases of COVID don't seem to be nearly as bad as they used to be. So that is certainly good news. So I definitely join you in praying for everybody who has recently been diagnosed with COVID. Prayers that they have mild cases and that they recover fully and completely and soon. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Does anybody else have? Yes.
Yes, this coming week is spring break for most schools in the area, so a lot of families are traveling, including mine. So I'd like to have prayers for safe travels.
Absolutely. Prayers for traveling mercies for everyone who is traveling on spring break. We will definitely include your family in that. And my son Jack is actually in Chicago this week. He's on spring break looking at colleges. So I would certainly appreciate prayers for traveling mercies for him as well. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Oh, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay. We're back to you.
I just wanted to bring up the fact of the ongoing concerns with the kidnapping and murders at the border. There's not really much to say, just don't go there. But I was shocked to hear on the news last night that these recent cases, there's 100,000 missing people that have been kidnapped or missing from going across the border at Matamoros and across the Texas border. So that's 100,000 people that don't know where they are.
Oh my goodness.
Just prayers for, just don't go. If
Yeah.
you gotta go, don't go across the border, just stay in Brownsville.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for raising that. If you did not hear, she was lifting up prayers of concern for people who recently were kidnapped, some of whom were murdered in Mexico after they crossed the border. And there's a lot of people apparently who have crossed the border and are missing. And that's a really scary, frightening situation for everybody. So we ask for prayers for the family members and the friends of the people who have died, and for people who are missing. That's a really scary, lonely place to be. So we ask that God be with them, be with their family members and their friends, and that God will bring healing to them. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers. Does anybody else have joys or concerns they'd like to share